We've spoken about honesty and, of course, its counterpart, dishonesty, in this spectrum of subjectivity. Now, this can range from everything from the extreme true to, of course, the extreme falsehoods and lies. In this spectrum, we will cover mild instances, of course, which can include such things as disclosure, making sure to include information that is not necessarily asked for. We also have omission, which is the withholding of information that would have been pertinent to both parties. And there are things that would make you be more or less believable, such as emotional honesty. With believability would be your perception. If your point of view or perspective would be different than that of the person you're speaking to, that could also create an illusion of dishonesty with one another. In the extreme end, we have truths. I use the plural because there can be subjective or objective truths, and of course, untruths or outright falsehoods. Disclosure would be including information that is revealing, usually more than what was just asked of the basic truth. It also helps build integrity. As students, we always cite our work in our references and bibliographies to avoid plagiarism, which is something we would consider dishonest.
Is it good for you?
I've had better.
The dark side to disclosure is oversharing and sharing too much information that was not asked for. Now, emotional honesty would be the believability of somebody, reading nonverbal cues as well as your own biases or context of those, such as being able to look someone in the eye and tell whether or not they have been honest with you.
Hamill won't do it. He's a soldier, not a murderer. I read it in his eyes.
Read his eyes? Oh, well, then everything's just fine!
The extreme end of the spectrum, we have truths, which can be objective, which would be factually agreed upon by virtually everybody, or subjective truths, which can depend on your point of view or perspective as to their legitimacy.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Moving on to the dishonest end of the spectrum, we have the counterpart to disclosure, which is omission, the purposeful withholding of information. It's not necessarily outright lying, but certainly not telling the whole truth. You can often hear this when you kind of think of speaking like Elvish or lawyers and politicians very often, where they're not outright lying to you, but certainly not telling you the full information of what would be pertinent to the conversation.
What you got there?
It's a smoothie.
The lines of believability, we have perception. Now, this can greatly change how honest or dishonest one is perceived, depending on the point of view or perspective of both parties involved.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
And of course, we arrive at untruths. Now, these are outright falsehoods which can objectively be proven false.
One of us always tells the truth, and one of us always lies. That's a rule, too. He always lies.
I do not. I tell the truth.
Oh, what a lie!